United States' major push for infrastructure development has started. USA understands that its economy is slowing down and wants it used infrastructure as a catalyst for increasing internal demand. This ultimately pushed for huge government investment, job creation, internal economic stability, and also prepared itself for 21st century. USA largely depends on infrastructure that is built in 70s and does not have a visible upgrade to it for a very long time. USA need to keep up with China in infrastructure push. The statistics is stacked against USA because it spends only 2.3% of GDP on infrastructure compared it with European countries who spend 5% on average, and China spends around 8% of its GDP. Just to meet basic national needs by 2025, the USA faces an estimated funding shortfall of more than $2 trillion. How neglected is American infrastructure? Public investment in US infrastructure as a share of GDP has fallen by more than 40% since 1960s. The World Economic Forum now ranks United States at 13th position when it comes to the overall quality of infrastructure. For instance, more than 45,000 US bridges and 1 in 5 miles of roads are in poor condition, as per the American Society of Civil Engineers. Failing infrastructure compromises American competitiveness and economic growth. After decades of underinvestments, US roads, bridges, port, airport, and transit system could be closer to their own shot in the arm with the introduction of Biden administration ambitious infrastructure package. A large-scale federal infrastructure investment program that is deliberately designed for maximum workspace impact can help accelerate re-employment, prevent scaring, and boost long-term inclusive and sustainable growth. The Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, passed by Congress on November 5th and signed into law by President Joe Biden, seeks to turn this around with an historic amount of investment in critical infrastructure in order to modernize US infrastructure landscape. The Biden administration recognized the potential for a well-developed large-scale federal infrastructure investment program to close the critical gaps, put Americans back to work, and correct economic social inequities in employment. Here are the top 5 infrastructure mega projects currently underway in USA that will have a major impact in US infrastructure modernization. Number 1. California High Speed Rail. Investment around 77 billion US dollar. Californian High Speed Rail is publicly funded high-speed rail system under construction in California. It is projected to connect the Anaheim Regional Transportation Intermodal Center and Union Station in downtown Los Angeles with the Salesforce Transit Center in San Francisco via the Central Valley, providing a one-seat ride between the Union Station and San Francisco in 2 hours and 40 minutes at a distance of 380 miles. Number 2. Sound Transit 3, value $54 billion. ST3 will expand the existing Link Light rail system to the suburb of Tacoma Federal Way, as well as Seattle neighborhood of Ballard and West Seattle. Projects are set to open in stages from 2024 to 2041, modernizing transportation in the region. Number 3. Las Vegas Convention Center Loop, a value of $52.5 billion. The Las Vegas Convention Center Loop is the first commercial tunneling job for Elon Musk's The Boring Company, after the construction of an R&D tunnel in Los Angeles. The 1.5-mile long underground system reportedly moves up to 4,400 passengers per hour through 2 tunnels using a fleet of Teslas. Hudson Yard, $20 billion. The Hudson Yard is a real estate development in the Chelsea and Hudson Yard neighborhood of Manhattan in New York City. The project has been described as New York's largest urban development since Rockefeller Center. Number 5. 2nd Avenue Subway, $17 billion. The 2nd Avenue Subway is a New York City subway line that runs under 2nd Avenue on the east side of Manhattan. The line would be 8.5 miles and 16 stations long, serve a projected 600,000 daily riders. All these projects and more on the pipeline are set to transform USA infrastructure and improve its standing in the globe. More importantly, USA need to prepare itself for increased competition from the various quarters across the globe to keep itself ahead of the race in economic development and stability.